Okay folks, in this quick video I'm just going to show you how to maybe begin to do your literature search. Remember, you need to list some key texts and those will be related to your choice of topic. So I'm going to use my example that I mentioned in the day school of using social media for teaching. So if I just type in social media to the Summon homepage, you'll find, it just takes a moment to load. I'm just going to have a look at the number of results. So you can see I've got over 7 million results. If you've got that many, it kind of clearly shows that it's much too broad, and the kind of texts that come up are kind of, you know, more broad than you might want. One of the ways to narrow your search is to use a word that's really tightly focused on education. So you could, for example, put in curriculum, and let's see if that drops the number of results that we get. So I'm going to search for that. And the results have come down substantially. There's still a lot there. I could decide that in the first instance, because I want to look at very current things and I want to look at short journal articles, peer-reviewed journal articles, I'm going to click on there, and that will bring the results down again by about another 100,000. And then if we scroll down and look on the left, you can see that we can look within disciplines. So I can narrow it further by saying, right, I just want to look within education. So can you see how the count is coming down all the time? We're narrowing in on the field that we want to look at. And then finally, I might decide, actually, I want to narrow the publication date. And you can say the last 12 months or the last 3 years, or you can use this slider to bring it more up to date. So I'm just going to click and say, oops, let's jump back up. Let's go down again. I want to look at the last 3 years. And that's going to bring it down from about 67,000 to just over 10,000. Still a lot, and more than you can ever hope to read, but at least, you know, you're kind of assured that it's more likely that it's going to be in the right field and it's going to be something relatively current. So I'm just going to have a quick look down there. This might be useful. So embedding social media in an academic curriculum as a learning and assessment strategy, and that sounds broadly like the kind of thing I might want to look at in my research. So I'm going to click through on it, and what I was advising that you would do to begin to kind of narrow down your literature search is to have a look at those sources, and in particular to have a look at the list of references at the end. So it's just taking a moment to do that. It says transferring data. There we are. So that's the article, or at least it will be the abstract of the article. It's a good idea to have a quick read of it, and sometimes in your research the abstract is enough. You can have a look at the abstract and draw something out of it, a key idea, something that's relevant to your research, without having to read the whole thing. So don't feel that you have to. You can cherry pick, is what I'm saying. I'm just going to click to accept there, make it a bit smaller so we can read it. So you'll see the abstract, and if we want to look at the whole thing, you can either click on full article or PDF. Let's go for the PDF and download it. So I kind of play in the literature detective here, and this is the sort of thing you need to do when you're doing a literature search. So let's scroll right down to the bottom, end of the article, and start to look at the kinds of things that are listed here. Look at the dates of them. So it's things from 2005, 2010, some early stuff from Dewey 1993. But you can begin to think, right, some of those titles are more useful to me than others, and you can begin to store those. And that's what we're asking you to do for this module, is a literature search, maybe looking at the abstracts for those, picking out the ones that are most relevant and turning them towards your topic. So whenever you pick out a bit of an abstract, let's have a look at what this one says. You can start to think about, you know, how does this relate to my topic, and then write that down. So let's home in on this a little bit. So outlines the redesign of an MSc module to enhance students' engagement and learning through embedding social media technologies into the academic curriculum. That's exactly what my research is also about. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Okay. Describes the process, some of the components of the module redesign. Although the eventual redesign allowed for incorporation of social media both as a learning strategy and for assessment purposes, this paper is focused on the use or application of social media in academic curriculum as a learning strategy. Grounding the new module in constructivist pedagogy and an inquiry-based action learning model, the redesign leveraged the use of social media to expand the interrelational dimensions of students' learning. I think that means just students talking to each other. And this increases students' engagement and depth and breadth of their learning while enhancing their appreciation for e-professionalism. So if I was going to kind of write some notes on this, let's just have a go at doing that. Just cancel that a minute. I'm going to start a new document. And the sorts of things that I might say is article on use of social media with Masters students. And then the key thing might be to say relevance for my research is this contrasts with some of my worries about effects of social media because it highlights benefits but not the challenges of this kind of approach. So that when I'm then writing about my research, I know why that article was useful and what it says about mine, so I could use it to contrast with. So I could say, conversely, these authors found blah blah blah. So it's a kind of useful thing always to do this, relevance for my research, because what we can end up doing is taking loads and loads of notes on what the article is about, summarising their ideas, but not really thinking about, well, why have I written that down? How is that going to fit into my written piece of work? So start to keep some notes on what you're reading, even if it's just a quick note based on the abstract, because that's all you're kind of doing at this stage, is mapping out the field, doing a literature search. So we've got a couple of things for you to think about doing there. Let's just minimise that. So we've said how to do some researching, how to find an article that might be useful, how to use the references that are listed at the end to start to find some further sources, and maybe how to start to use the abstract to turn it towards your research idea and think about it and take some notes on that. The final thing that I'm going to suggest to you is something that I suggested at the day school, which is to make use of Google Scholar. So I've just copied the title of that journal article. I'm going to go to Google Scholar. I'm going to paste it in. Let's hope it comes up in the results. Right, it's the top result there. And what I was suggesting at the day school is that you use the cited by link in Google Scholar to find out who cited it after. So this is a very recent paper, it's 2015. Nonetheless, since 2015, 14 other articles have cited it, and so you can have a look forward in time. So when you're looking at the references at the end of the paper, you're looking back at what someone's written about. When you're using Google Scholar and the cited by, you're looking forward from that paper to things that have been done since, and that can bring your literature search right up to date. So that's a key strategy as well. So hopefully that will be helpful. Good luck with your literature searches. Do use the academic librarians. You can ask librarians. If you look on the Summon website, there's a button to ask librarians if you're stuck with your searching. They're brilliant. Jess Haig is our academic librarian. Hoping she can come along to the second day school. She's a fantastic resource. If you're stuck, do contact her.